Welcome to AAPC Social Hour. It is May 25th, 2022. Memorial Day weekend is upon us. I have my friends from the AAPCCA Board of Directors with me today. And you guys ready for, I don't know, I'm assuming everybody gets a longer weekend. Are you guys in that boat?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Definitely ready for the
We're
long
ready.
weekend.
Yes.
We lost Alex.
Oh, no. I think we're still live. Let's just introduce ourselves.
Okay, well, hello, everybody. My name is Brenda Stevens, and I am the chair, the 2022 chair for the AAPC Chapter Association Board of Directors. And today I have with me Kristen Rodriguez, Debbie DePriest, Robin Gowdy, and Julia Mitchell. And ladies, introduce yourselves.
There's
Alex
Alex.
is back. Welcome back, Alex.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
I'll start introducing myself, Brenda, if it's okay with Alex. All right, so I'm Robin. I'm Vice Chair for 2022. I am the representative for Region 1, and we just had a meet and greet last night. So if you all missed it, no worries. Our next meet and greet, it's going to be August 24th. And so look for an email and a flyer about joining us for those meet and greets. We'd love to hear what your chapters are doing and what we're talking about.
I'm Deb DePriest. I'm for Region. I'm on the BOD for Region 8. It's my first year on the BOD. I love it. I'm having a great time. We do have a meet and greet coming up in June, and I believe it's June 14th. And we'd love to have you join us. Lots of fun things to talk about, networking, questions, anything we can help you with.
I am Julia Mitchell. I am Deb's bod buddy for Region 8, which is the West region, Western states, Hawaii, Alaska, and Guam. And yes, we do have a meet and greet coming up on June 14th. And hopefully we can have a lot of our officers join so we can do networking. We're really looking forward to that. And also, we've been also asking who's going to be attending in Denver. And there's a lot of people who would love to attend in Denver as well as next year in Nashville. So that's great to hear. But thank you. I've been on the BOD this is my second year, and I am also the chair for Officer Resources. So if anyone's interested in becoming a speaker for our local chapters, please email Officer Resources at aapcca.org and we can get you signed up. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kristen Rodriguez. I am in Region 3. I'm actually filling in for the rest of the year. I was previously on the BOD before in Region 8 and had to step away for family issues. So I'm thrilled to be back helping out with Region 3, which is on the East Coast. We do have a meet and greet coming up. We're still trying to finalize a date as we're in between two holidays. So we're trying to figure best time to do it where people will be back from vacations or back from whatever breaks they're taking from work or school. So more news to come on Region 3 meet and greet for the next quarter.
Thank you, ladies. And I just want to start by letting everybody know what the BOD or what the AAPC Chapter Association is about. We are a governing board for the AAPC local chapters, and we provide policies, rules, regulations, direction, and we also give advice to the AAPC local chapters. And we are also charged with ensuring that our local chapters function in accordance with the AAPC's mission statement. We are comprised of, the board has 16 members, and we are in 16 members, 2 per region across the state. And we just want to say that we just enjoy working with and love working with our local chapters and our local chapter officers. We are here for you at all times. Yeah.
I noticed a few of you mentioned the meet and greets, and we have a lot of students who watch Social Hour. Is a region meet and greet a great place for a student, or are these events more tailored towards an experienced pro?
The meet and greets are for the officers, but there are times where we can allow someone to come in just to see how, the AAPC local chapters function. And even if you have a desire to be an officer as well.
And so if you're watching and you are an officer or have a desire to be an officer, you want to attend these meet and greets.
A great networking opportunity for our officers, and it's a great networking opportunity for those that want to come into the fold as well. And even if you're not a member and want to become a member as well. We do things all collaboratively, and we just love having people elevate from members to officers, and then from students to members as well.
So anybody can attend the meet and greet then?
Yeah, they're generally tailored toward officers. And yes, there are times where we can let others in just to see the flow.
Hey, before you kick off your discussion, Brenda, I just want to give a shout out. We have a lot of great members who have joined us today. And before I disconnected myself, I've got a wiggly finger, just wants to hit all the buttons today. But we talked about Memorial Day weekend and the long weekend, and it looks like, everybody's ready online. Andrea Perego says no long weekend. So I'm sorry, Andrea. It's not going to be that fun. It's not going to be that great. But Andrea's in Galveston, Texas. We've got Sarah Reagan from Daytona Beach, Florida, and I know she's spoken at many chapters. Sean Tatum Williams from Houston, thanks for being with us. Jody Payne Smith from Tucson, and I think Tucson or Arizona is getting into that weather where it's scorching hot. They must be. Not Hawaii weather. And let's see here. We've got, Julia, speaking of Hawaii weather, I see Julia. Hey, Julia, I see you in the comments. Hey. And Marissa from Indiana. So if you have any questions for the BOD through this, feel free to put them in the comments. And I know Julia's got her eyes, and I'm sure some of you others have their eyes on this as well. But Brenda, go for it. I'm going to back off a little bit now.
Well, we have Julie. We do have committees on our BOD, and Julia has spoken about officer resources, where I would like for Kristen and Deb to talk about their committees that they are on. Kristen runs the Chapter Development Committee, and Deb is on the Professional Development Committee. So if you ladies can just tell us a little bit about what your committee is about and what it's doing.
So our committee is developing more robust resources for the chapters to use to help educate the members, or just to grow your chapter, help your chapter become more successful. And a couple of things that we're working on are documents that can help your members of resources to use it for your low cost. Aside from all the resources you get with AAPC, there's a ton of information out there if you just look for it. So we're helping to develop that. We're helping to develop officer training resources for different credentials that are available, how to use those, how to use the website, and different tools like that. So again, we're here to help your chapter grow and be successful. I think all of our committees, all of the different departments within BOD, I call them departments, committees really is what we are. We all work in conjunction with that same goal, to help your chapter grow, be successful, and help you, the individual. So
my committee is professional development. Right now we are taking the app nominations for Officer of the Year. That is open until June 30th. So if you're interested in nominating an officer, please do. There's a nomination form under Files on the Facebook under the AAPC Officers page. You go under Files, you'll see the nomination form. Please fill that out, send it in. We will be announcing a winner at Denver. And we are also working on revamping some of our presentations that chapters can use if they don't have a speaker or a speaker is canceled. So there's presentations that are available to the chapter so they won't have to cancel their meetings. So we're working on that to kind of bring them up to date, add more things, useful tools, etc. That's what we're working on currently.
Another committee, the Public Relations Committee, we don't have a representative from that committee. However, Robin did chair that committee on last year. So if Robin, you can update us on things that the Public Relations Committee does.
Brenda, the Public Relations Committee, they work on, they assist getting articles written out in the HBM magazine. So they get those, they do, they spotlight a chapter every month and they write another article about something, or they spotlight a member. So Public Relations Department Committee is always looking for someone to spotlight our chapters, our officers. They do a dynamic job in making sure their members get what they need. So we want to spotlight that. We want everybody to know about our officers, about our chapters, and that you hear more about them when they win chapter of the year or officer of the year, but we want to spotlight them every month. So that that committee works very hard in displaying those. Another thing they work on, Did You Know Monday? That's a concept they came up with to keep things fresh in the mind of our members. You work so hard, you're working for your chapters, your family life, you may forget sometime what's going on. So every Monday, maybe Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Monday night, you're guaranteed to see something new as a refresher that's going to remind you of what's going on. What else are they working on? They do that monthly, but always looking for people who want to write an article. So that's a big thing for public relations.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So those are the committee updates. And I also want to please get your applications in the nomination form for Officer of the Year, as Debbie mentioned, because that will be closing soon. And we will be spotlighting that person at the Denver Regionals. And in addition, we are having a wonderful appreciation, an officer's appreciation in Denver. It is an in-person event. It is 3 hours. And this is just going to be a fun-filled event. And we do hope that everyone can attend this workshop, this appreciation workshop that we are having for our officers. And we are excited to come to regionals. We are excited to see our officers. We're excited to just be in person.
Yeah, that's true.
Officer of the Year nominations, can anybody, any AAPC member vote for the Officer of the Year? Or is that just officers that can vote for other officers?
I believe anybody can do the nomination form for Officer of the Year, and you can also self-nominate.
And how do they do that? Where is this form?
It's in the AAPC officers chapter, and then under files, you'll see the nomination form.
So they have to log into their AAPC member account?
No, it's actually on the Facebook group, AAPC Officers 2022.
So
It is
can
in
I
the
share
files
that?
section.
Can we share that in the comments? The Okay, is it all right if I pull the link off of that
Absolutely.
post? Okay,
Mhm.
we're going to share that in the comments so everybody can vote for their
Sure.
favorite officer.
And Brenda, when we
Thank you for
first
that.
started, Brenda, you were mentioning when we first started, how if you want to become an officer, you can attend the meet and greets. And I kind of want to piggyback on something you said, because I think it's really important for the members or potential members that are attending this to understand you don't have to have a ton of experience to be an officer. Don't let the lack of experience or the fact that you're newer to coding prevent you from stepping up and taking on the chance to be an officer and taking on that role. You'll have other officers that will help guide you. It's not super challenging to be an officer. There's a ton of resources on my APC that will help you. You've got the BOD that can help you. There's just a huge opportunity for members when they step up as an officer. There's nothing quite like it. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my own tongue. There's nothing quite like being an officer, giving back to the community. We all started somewhere. We didn't just wake up one night and we were on the BOD. You know, that didn't just happen overnight. We all started somewhere. I started as a file clerk at the age of 17. And I worked my way up. I've had my own businesses. I've consulted. I've done a bunch of different things. So I know what it's like to be afraid, to be new, but don't let that get to you. If you think being an officer is something you want to try and do, take a chance, because you're taking a chance in yourself. You're investing in yourself. Take the shot. It's totally worth it.
I agree. I really do. I told my chapter that everything is a team. It's not just because you're the president. It's a team effort.
It is definitely a team effort. And I'm looking at some of the comments, and I do see where Lori said she had 0 experience as a president, but wanted to serve. And that is wonderful. That is the information that we love to hear. It's like Kristen said, you don't need a ton of experience. You just have to have the willingness and the want to do it. And I do see others that have been certified for only a year, Sarah, and she became secretary. Yeah. And then you have the other officers that are there to hold your hand and lead you through the officer process as well. So thank you.
I see in the local chapter officer Facebook group a form for the 2021 Officer of the Year nomination form. Is that the one that you're using for this year as well?
It is the 2021 officer, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, and I will see if I can post that. Is there any place, because that's a private group for officers, that's exclusive to officers. Is there a place publicly on the website, that on the AAPC website, that can be found?
I don't
believe so.
Yeah, I don't believe so
So not
either.
on the website. Mhm.
And I'm going to share this so member officers and non-officers can make their nominations for Officer of the Year. That's coming in right now, you guys.
Thank you, Alex. And just a question to throw out to those that are on Facebook. Is anybody coming to Denver? Do we have any officers on that will be attending the officer appreciation? We can't wait to see you.
Right. Yes.
Lori
Great.
will be there for sure.
Hi, Lynn. You'll be attending with us virtually. And Lori, you will be in person? Oh,
Awesome.
great.
I'm attending virtually. Unfortunately, no travel for me right now, but I'll be there virtually. I'll be in spirit. Sounds like it's going to be fantastic. So if anybody's going in person, you should go. You should go to this if you're an officer.
Lady, the officer appreciation is in person. So I don't believe we're going to have any type of virtual presence. Correct, Brenda?
Correct. The officer appreciation will be an in-person only event.
Lori only lives 20 minutes from Gaylord. That's awesome.
That is
Nice.
wonderful.
Past social hour, Lori mentioned that I think it's Lori that mentioned there's a water park at the hotel. So I need to see Debbie going down the water slide.
Me too. I want to see,
You're in,
let me
Brenda?
know.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll have a social hour, a live social hour in the water park. How about that?
If Debbie doesn't go down the water slide, I'll go down for her. I love water slides.
It can be a whole AAPC family team building experience for you all.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
I'll be filming. I'll just film.
I'm just going to watch the popcorn while you live stream that film, Brenda.
What's going on with May Mania, you guys? It's we're almost through the month. How's that been attended? Have you heard any feedback about that?
Lots of positive comments, not only from our chapter, but all the chapters that I've been on meet and greets and Facebook even. I've watched a lot of the Facebook comments, and there seems to be a lot of, I think, getting back together from COVID. I think it's, been a real exciting moment for everybody. And then all the free prizes and things that AAPC is offering has been really exciting.
Oh, they really love the free clinical documentation.
Yes.
Side. That was
a
a huge
great.
hit. Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
was the discount on Codify. That
Yeah.
was a
Yes.
huge hit.
That's
And
great.
Marty shared on the local chapter Q&A last Friday, a chapter, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it was the Minneapolis chapter. They had a beautiful cake with the AAPC logo on it. It was
Nice.
beautiful.
I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and so just to see all of the back to in-person meetings and
Right.
everybody just kind of getting back to some sort of normalization is just really great to see.
That was the Minneapolis chapter, and maybe we need to have a cake contest for May Mania too. But that was a beautiful cake.
It was.
Oh, I didn't see it. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it was. And I think if you go onto the officers page and
Mhm.
you will be able to find it, but
Okay.
they just did a beautiful job with it.
Very nice.
And all of our chapters have done wonderful jobs, creating events or just trying to make Membership Mania fun for everyone.
Yes.
And we
There-
thank you for that.
There was a chapter up north in Michigan. They did a Kentucky Derby theme, and they all had on hats. Very nice. I believe it was Tammy's chapter, one of our bod sisters. It was really creative.
Really?
It was
I
very creative.
remember seeing that.
Very nice. I thought it just put everybody in such a festive mood.
Now
Yes.
that's an original idea. I like
Yeah,
that.
very.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
I think I'm sorry, Alex. I think some of those concepts are really great. But what they tell me is, and what we should do as chapter officers anyway, start planning your next year early. May Mania
I
is kind of a
agree.
big deal. Start
Yeah.
planning now, then you can do the Kentucky Derby, then you can do the
Yes.
beautiful cake, and
Mhm.
you can do those types of events if you start planning early. And I get that resources for the officers are tight sometimes, and they don't have the ability to plan that far ahead. But when we know May Mania happens every May, you should start planning and talking about ideas and things now. And even enlist your chapter. Hey, what would you guys think would be fun to do for a May Mania special event? And help get some input on
Yes.
different ideas and concepts. It's a big event for AAPC. It's a big event for the chapters. So I love to hear about the chapters that are doing these big, crazy celebrations. I didn't go to anything in person this year. I attended some meetings online that were really great, but I would have loved to have seen some of those things.
And now that
I
Alex
think
has said-
where we hold our chapter, Aapmania is still located in the hospital. So we are still under the guidelines of COVID. So we're just thankful we have a place to be able to go to right now. But I do agree, planning out a year ahead would be absolutely wonderful.
We have a lot of office or general members who are watching. So if you haven't been to your May Mania event, I don't know, maybe there's still this week, maybe there's one happening tonight or tomorrow, but check with your chapter calendar and see what's happening there. If you haven't, this is a great time to maybe bring a professional who you work with who may not be familiar with AAPC, or someone who's thinking about a career in the business of healthcare. So before I hit the why, because I want to ask you each, what other reasons should they attend May Mania? But Brenda, you brought up the two promos, the two offers, Codify and I think ebooks. Those are offered, or those will be available until the end of June. So if you'd like to get in on that, you've got another month. So why May Mania, you guys? Why is it fun for you? What makes it great?
I think it's
Aside from
great.
the-
Oh, go ahead, Brenda.
I'll be quick. Aside from the networking,
Mhm.
the chapters just make it fun. That is the one time to just go and just have a great time with your officers, with your members, network, and just enjoy in on what the chapter has planned for you.
I think the officers save that month to always bring in a special guest. So it's nice to know what treat are we going to get this year. They always bring in, and this I see in most chapters, they always bring in something extra, whether it's an extra speaker or just a surprise guest. And it's always worth knowing, what we're going to get along with our festivities. So that's a great thing to look forward to every May.
And if you're watching this and are not an officer, put in the comments what your May Mania was like this year, if you've attended that. Let us know if there's a crazy theme. Maybe Julia's chapter in Hawaii did a snow theme. Because, you guys, have you seen snow, Julia? Have you felt snow?
We get snow on my island. I live on the big island, so we get snow up on Mauna Kea.
There you go.
All the time. Yeah. I do want to let members and officers know that I do know that some chapters didn't have a full May Mania this year. They had like my chapter, we had a meeting, but we put some extra stuff in there. So it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be tailored to your chapter, but it is a great opportunity to bring introduce not only new members into your chapter, but also engage your current chapter members that have really not participated maybe in some of your meetings throughout the beginning of the year. So May Mania is a great time exactly to network and just try to engage those chapter members. I know I have a small chapter, but we try to get as many, and we did a contest to see how many of our own chapter members were going to be attending, because we do get chapter members from the other chapters in Hawaii. There's only 3 chapters in Hawaii, and a lot attend Hilo because maybe there's nothing going on in the other chapters. So just networking throughout the islands was great for our meeting this in May, and we had a great speaker. We had Caitlin Brack, and she's always a fun speaker and very very engaging. So prizes and raffles and games are great. Just wanted to say that I know that. Look at that cake. That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Gorgeous?
Minneapolis
We
is
should
so
have a cake
creative.
contest next year. That would be fun.
That was a great
It would be
idea,
a
Alex.
fabulous
Isn't
idea.
that gorgeous? And they did two. They did the one with the AAPC logo and then a smaller one
Thank
that
you.
just says
Oh.
"Thank you."
That's
members.
awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Very
awesome.
creative.
Yeah.
And Julia, what you mentioned as your favorite parts of Maymania, those are my favorites. I love bringing in new members. I love seeing them come in, or new potential members, but also the influx of the older members. Like, that's why talk it up, talk it up. If you know you're going to have this big event, talk it up, save your chapter's funds so that you can offer more door prizes, and really talk it up to the membership and push to get people in May. And maybe if you are successful with it, they'll stick around for future meetings too. I know the virtual world with COVID has really opened up a lot of attendance goals for people, or not really goals. I think it's made more.
Good attendance for some
Yeah,
chapters.
there's huge attendance with some of these meetings because they're virtual. I don't know if that's something that's going to happen forever, but if you do a really great Maymania and you bring your members back in, they can see, oh, this is what I'm missing by not going in person. They're probably going to come back to more meetings in the future.
One thing I want to say to that, Kristen, which is a great idea, but one thing that brings a lot of people in and a big attraction is May is pretty much a warm time. So having it outside at a picnic or recreation center, that brings in a lot of people. Some chapters may have a DJ, you have the music. People are going to like, what's going on there? It's an opportunity to collect money for your chapter, you know, to do more things in the future. If you want to donate to the hardship fund, there's extra money right there. So sometimes saving to rent a space is a huge opportunity to have a good time for Maymania.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of parks. Or whether I physically live in California, even though I'm part of Region 3, I physically live in California. So out here, the weather, I mean, come on, our weather's nice almost all the time. It can be really too hot some days, but that's my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. But going outside or going to a beach, there's so many options for something outside and so many different things that can be done when you don't have to worry about rain or snow or things like that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, places where there's more rain or snow, you're going to have other options, a little bit more indoors or covered areas within parks would work too, possibly. But I love that idea, Robin. Yeah. Change up your venue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just the normal meeting that way. I love that.
So this picture's from Lori in Boulder.
Oh,
wow.
She mentioned the cups that she made. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Lori, how'd you do that? Did you just order them online? And those gift bags, I need to go to that chapter next year to get me.
Very nice.
There were so many pictures, not only in the chapter officer group, but on the AAPC general Facebook group, showing what was happening. And it was just tons of fun. You know, we always want our members to attend their local Maymania or chapter meetings first, and then go out and explore the others. We want strong communities in your area to help support those members from where you're at.
Also, I'm just going to add, where May is almost over, let's not forget we do have Fall Back in October as well.
Yep.
Which is another event that is similar to Maymania. So you can start planning that now as well.
Yeah. And then I think it was Lori mentioned their end of the year party already. Why not blow it out at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Another big opportunity.
It?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And why not start planning that now?
I think the pre-planning aspect of things is super, super important because we all work. We might go to school too. We might have kids too. We have families. In my case, you might take care of an aging parent. Life is busy. And before you know it, we're going to be in October because I can't believe we're already at June. You know?
Right.
So
for our chapter, it was just good to see everybody again. We talked about officers and their responsibilities, and we offered that to our members to give it a try. We hadn't seen many of our members in over 2 years. So it was just a real warm welcome and getting back together, and we had food, not a cake, but we had food, and it was a great time. So I told them I was just so super happy to be back and in person.
It doesn't have to be just something that the officers put on. Get a committee, get a May Mania or Membership Mania committee, get a Fallback to October committee, or if you're having a end of the year party, get the members involved and have that be a committee that works collaboratively with the officers as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great tip, because too often the officers feel like I have to plan, it has to be this perfect event, and don't stress out. Enlist people to help out. Enlist your members to help out. And by doing that, you may find a member who's like, hey, this isn't so bad. I want to be an officer one day.
Right.
You see the cake, you see the cups, you're like, oh, I'm not a party planner person, and that's out of my wheelhouse, but it doesn't need to be all of that, right?
No, it doesn't need to be, albeit nice. I'm not a DIY person, so I would have to look to someone like Lori in my group hands down, that is not my area. But that's why we all lean on each other, because what I can't do, someone else can. And then the event with all of us working together will be a success. And I've seen some even nice virtual May Manias where they, like Robin said, bring in a special speaker, or some chapters do make the May Mania event into a seminar. And that can be done virtually as well. But in person, but we do miss, a lot of us do miss in person.
Lori says she's
Don't do that. I may take you up on that.
Lori has a side job decorating for all the AAPC chapters.
Making cups for all 200,000 members.
Well,
Yeah,
that would be wonderful for Lori to decorate Denver for us, all the tables and
those cups. So listen, that's a great idea, Debbie.
we could really have we have a great time, but boy, we could get some decorations going.
It's kind of piggybacking on what Brenda was talking about creating a committee. You may have members in your chapter that or non-members who are just people seeking to make their move into the career, and they may want to be involved. I would not hesitate to reach out to those individuals. Maybe they've come to a chapter meeting and are considering this path as for their career, and it's a great way for them to build those relationships, and for working pros to see their work ethic and their organization skills. And those kind of things lead to employment.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Just one small step.
I see a question that came in that Terry's asking, what are the benefits of being an officer? So for me, part of the benefit was being able to give back to my community. There's nothing I love more. 35 years, I think, there's nothing I like more than give back to others that are just starting out. So one of the benefits for me was what I personally got from that, and that was being a mentor or being motivating to other people. Yeah, there's other perks that we get from it. It's great on your resume, and you might get different discounts for going to certain events or things like that. But for me, it was what I got out of it personally that made it a million times worth it. And that was being able to share what I've learned over a million years and give back.
I'm an online instructor, and so I see where the students are very new to this, new to AAPC, new to credentialing, certification. And so I became, I like being on the board so I can help them network, meet new people. It's such a big world for the newbie, and they're not familiar with chapters or what the chapters can offer. And so I take a big part in that, regardless of what state they live in. I take a big part in trying to get them to understand what the chapters are all about. So that's one big advantage of being an officer as well.
And for me, it's what Kristen said, mentoring, just giving back. I too teach at a college, and just in this, it's entry level. So it's designed for someone that has never even known about what is coding, never seen an ICD-10 book or a CPT book. And just to see them have such a passion that you have for coming into the business side of healthcare, it just makes all the difference in the world. And then that in turn gets them into the chapter and continually holding their hand and continually mentoring them into possibly they can be an officer, not possibly, but to being an officer. And then taking that next step to being on the board of directors as well. It's fulfilling in that manner.
What's the time commitment like? Is it overwhelming? I guess you have the monthly chapter meetings and then exams that you guys proctor. Is that overwhelming, or tell me about that?
It's not overwhelming.
Mute, Robin.
It's not overwhelming to me. I really like being with chapter members.
Yes.
Yes, you have, I think it's what you want to put in. I mean, if you want, we were talking about May Mania, some people may not have the funds or the time to put as much in as some other people with committees or funds, but everybody puts in what they can, and that's what makes it so wonderful. So it's we do have, we may get on 15 minutes early prior to our chapter meeting, but you're going to be attending the chapter meeting anyway. So, that's not any additional time, very little prep time once you find your speaker, and, it really isn't a lot of time. I like it. I like being an officer. I like being part of my chapter.
I think
I agree with Debbie. I think it's preparation for everything. I think it's preparation. And when you love what you do, it's definitely not overwhelming at all.
Exactly.
I think all of us, I can speak for everyone when I say we love to serve our officers, our members.
Right.
And it's just good to be able to give back in any way.
I think sometimes the hardest parts are finding really good speakers, except, and I know that she's on the call, she's on this session. Lady Martinez has nailed finding speakers this past year for being an officer. She networks online on the different platforms, social media, not just Facebook. She goes out to LinkedIn, and she's finding some really phenomenal speakers for her chapter. And I know others are doing that too. And I'm only calling out ladies' names because I just saw her in the chat. But I think that's some of the hardest part, is that piece of it, finding a really good speaker, finding somebody that will commit, not bail on you. Although emergencies happen and sometimes they have to. The only other stressful part was finding the space, finding in-person space and a place for exams. Here in California, most places still limit how many people can be in. The chapter I used to be an officer for, we met in a hospital, and the hospital closed it to us in early in COVID. I don't know if they've reopened. I don't think so, to outside entities, but that's another challenge that's happened with chapters. But you've got anywhere from 3 to 5 officers, right? And you've got anywhere from 5 to 25 or 125 or 400 members that can all help you find spaces. So it's only overwhelming if you're holding it all in and saying it's all my responsibility. Once you say to everyone, hey, I need your help me find something, then all of a sudden all that stress goes away. So.
And you did mention proctoring, and that is not tedious at all. It goes back to what Robin said. When you love what you do, it's not hard. And I know for a lot of our officers, and especially our new officers, proctoring can seem intimidating, but it is not at all. And it's actually my favorite thing to do. Other than create PowerPoint, it's one of my favorite things to do.
And the time limit for proctoring exams has shrunk a little bit.
Yes. It
So-
is now 4 hours. Yeah.
So what's the total time when you're proctoring, Brenda, with the new 4-hour exam time? What's your setup time and how long to shut everything down after the exam's ended?
Well, I would say if total time could be now about 5 hours, maybe at least 5.5. That includes like book check and then waiting at 4 hours and then cleaning up the area. And then getting the exams back to FedEx to ship back to the AAPC. And then it depends too on how many examinees that you have as well. And a lot of them can be taking different tests. So if you're taking some specialty tests, that may require a little bit more book check time.
I have a question for Julia. Julia.
Yes.
And like we know, like you don't need technical skills necessarily to be a chapter officer. Like you don't need to be an expert coder having coded so many years. I think it's a lot of enthusiasm and what you can bring as far as energy, organization to the chapter. What are your thoughts about what makes a good chapter officer, and what are the requirements? Do you have to be a certified coder?
Well, you don't have to be a certified coder. AAPC has many certifications, but you do have to be certified. So you can be certified practice manager, compliance officer, not just a coder, or certified biller, and be an officer for a chapter. And no, you don't need a lot of technical skills. You just have to want to serve your community, serve the chapter members, and also be engaged. You really, as an officer with your other officers, be engaged, have those officer meetings to plan your year, to plan your meetings. And, I've been an officer now for probably more years than I should, and I just love it. And, sometimes you have to, help keep your chapter going. And so I just move around to different roles. And next year I'm going to drop down to be an education officer, because I have been building up a few of our new officers this year to take on the president role, the VP role, etc. But and having someone with experience does help, right, in your chapter. But we know that this year many chapters are brand new. All the officers could be fresh officers. So I do want anyone out there who's a new officer or thinking of becoming an officer, know that you have your BOD representatives in your region we are here to help you become really great officers. We're here to mentor you, to provide you with trainings. We have many presentations, including proctoring. Like if you've never proctored and you want education on being a proctor, we, Officer Resources created a proctoring presentation, and it is on the officer Facebook page as well, that you can grab and train your your members to become proctors, or you can ask one of us to come and we will train you all to be proctors. But we're here to help. And yes, you need to be an officer. That's right, Sarah. You need to be an officer for first proctor, but the second proctor can be a member. And my chapter, we have been really encouraging the members to be the second proctor. So for every test that we have this year, I told my fellow officers, we are going to find a member to be our second proctor. And that's what we've done to engage them. And that's how we received our member development officer for this year. Last year, we got her to become a proctor. She really enjoyed it, and she became our member development officer. And that's the way you have to do it sometimes, right? Just bring them in, let them know that it's not a lot of hard work. It doesn't take a lot of time. And it really is fulfilling. I love to proctor. I love doing the exams. I really do, as well as the meetings. But when you have the exam for here, especially in Hawaii, we were really shut down, and we're still kind of shut down. We're limited on how many people we can have. But we were at exam time, we're able to interact, with our members. And of course, members, because we have members that fly in from Oahu and Maui as well, or all the islands actually, to come take tests in Hilo. So, really having that in-person engagement really is, so fun. So I'm hoping that we're able to have our in-person meetings at the end of the year, because I really want to see everyone in person.
I love to proctor, and I like the 4 hours of quiet time.
Yes.
I really
My favorite
do.
thing to do,
Just to
too.
sit back and
Like-
read a book and, walk the aisles every once in a while. And it's really refreshing for me.
I used to
Also
write
giving
presentations.
back.
Yeah. The giving back, I used it to write
Giving back.
presentations or just study. But yeah, I liked being there and helping with all of that as well.
Someone
And
did it for
it's-
us. Yeah. So it's
Right,
giving
somebody did it
back.
for us.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people I've heard will say I have to give up a Saturday. It's not your entire day. It's just a few hours in that day. You're not giving it up. And you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. What are you going to
Right.
gain from that? You're going to gain the sense of, I helped other people today. You gain more than you're ever going to give up. So,
For sure. Yeah, very true.
So Tom says he's a first-time
Yes.
proctor. He's going to do his exam in June. That's awesome.
Yes.
Hope you-
Yay.
I
We're
hope you
excited
enjoy
for
it
you.
as much as we do. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think was it Sarah that said she gets a lot done during that time? During that I do
So-
too. Even when it
Yeah.
was 5 hours and 40 minutes,
Mhm.
there's
Right.
a lot of work answering emails, everything. So it's just the giving back as well.
Yeah.
But you can get a lot done.
And when it's, go ahead, I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to say, and when it's over, that's when I take the opportunity to meet people, the new people who are trying to be newly certified, and then make sure they have a chapter home.
yeah. What I loved seeing back before COVID, like BC before COVID, there were the chapters that would post the pictures of, here are goodie bags for our examinees. It doesn't take a lot to put a goodie bag together. I know that chapters are strapped for cash a lot of times, but you don't have 300 people coming for an exam most of the time, right? You have 10, maybe 15, sometimes 50. It's small amounts. And it didn't take much to put the goodie bags together. I loved seeing it was a bag, it had a water, it had some sort of snack in it, it had some pencils, an eraser. I mean, it had useful things. I think that's so great. And I love what Robin just said about the people that are left at the end. Make sure they have a place to go when they're certified. Make sure they know which chapter they can come out to, meet them.
Mhm.
Those two things, I think, give you some loyalty before really they've found a home, their home chapter. That gives you a little bit of loyalty. They're going to remember, oh, I got the goodie bag from that chapter.
Mhm.
Right.
Robin
Our
was
chap-
really great. She stayed and helped and talked to me a lot. So
Mhm.
Right.
It's a good impression overall for that chapter going into any chapter
Yes,
and for the AAPC.
yes, yes.
yeah, Lori's putting out there what else she included in the goodie bags. Why am I not surprised that it was Lori?
We actually do one
Alex,
too
I
for
think
our
she said
car.
that she puts masks. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We do
definitely.
masks available. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
We
That
act,
is
our
one
calendar
chapter actually
in.
does it.
to
Sorry.
put a calendar of events of what your chapter's doing, if you're an officer,
Oh,
put
great
that in the
idea.
bag.
Oh, that's a great
Mhm.
idea.
It's a great idea.
Wow, great idea, Alex.
How can an officer maximize that contact with the examinee who you would want them to come back for meetings?
Yeah.
But each of you have, I'm sure, proctored many, many, many exams. And Brenda, this is just an idea because we're going to have the BOD back on social hour in, I think in a month or so.
In July, yes.
July. So it doesn't have to be this one, but with your experience between this group or whoever from the BOD having proctored many exams, I bet you've seen the craziest things that people have brought into exams, like the do's and don'ts. And we have so many students that watch social hour. I think that would be awesome for you guys to share those experiences, what examinee
Yeah.
can do to best prepare.
Yep.
Okay, I like that idea. Yes.
Yeah.
So
My
we'll
thing
talk
is,
about that.
please, if you're, I am all for snacks. One thing that I have is that I am all for snacks, but please, I always say in the email that we send out, make them quiet snacks
Yes.
or
Yeah.
open them prior to the exam starting.
Yeah.
Because it's
There's that-
nothing like even taking a test. I've proctored a lot. I've taken a lot. When you hear somebody opening the Lay's, it's distracting.
Mhm.
Quiet snacks.
I'm thinking of the commercial for the pretzel bites. And
Uh-huh.
that it's the couple sitting on a couch and they're in a fight and she's eating the pretzels and they must have a microphone in her mouth because the crunch is obnoxious. And he looks at her and he says, "That's not how you do the silent treatment."
But even a pretzel, even chewing a potato chip or eating a pretzel when
yeah.
the room is quiet, it's like you can hear a pin drop at that point.
Yes. Yes, pretzels and potato chips and maybe nuts are not the best snacks to bring in.
Not only snacks, some people, when they're in their books, when they're turning their pages, they make this loud snapping noise. I mean, one exam, everyone was turning and looking at and I had to go up to her and I said, "Can you please, turn your pages more quietly," because she was doing it, fast and furious. So
Violent page turner.
yes. Yeah, exactly.
Can definitely bring some do's and don'ts. I mean, this conversation can go on from the different things that everybody has seen when proctoring and the do's and the don'ts.
I had one examinee, she was blowing bubbles and she was so nervous. She wasn't really realizing her bubbles were so big and loud. And I had to ask her to please take out the gum.
Okay.
I will admit that I have distracted examinees in the past. So I don't know if you can see, I have fairly long fingernails. Well, the sound of these babies on a keyboard in a very quiet room is deafening. And I had her turn and whip her head and look at me and I'm like, oh, so sorry. Because I had no idea. I'm immune to the sound my hands make at this point. But yeah, I was put in my place. I learned my lesson that day.
I remember a lady testing, and if you look at her area, she had a table to herself, but it looked like a bingo table where she had all of the things that will bring her luck. A little witchy with the head going, little bob head thing, and she had, it was so funny. I could do nothing but laugh, but she wasn't harming anybody. She had the whole table to herself. It was just funny to me.
Hey, Brenda, we're just about out of time, but we have a great question. This discussion has spurred a question from Renee Bauckham, who says, "Can the BOD clarify the protocol in which books examinees can bring?" We've encountered examinees who bring their previous year's books because they don't want to transfer their notes. Would you guys just talk a little bit about that? And then after that, Brenda, would you wrap it up?
Sure. Now, I will say you can bring previous year's books to your exam because especially you see a lot of that like in January for our January examinees when they haven't brought all their notes from one year's book to the other. So yes, you can do that.
Would you recommend that? I mean,
well, we'll let you use, if you're like for this year, we will let you use the 2021 book as well as your 2022 book. But if you're working only out of a previous year's book, I would not recommend that. But if that's the only book that you have, we will let you use that. It's not because codes change, rules change. And so it is the suggestion to use current year books.
And I wanted to mention, because this has come up before, there's no deadline to using the previous year books. Like you don't have to stop using 2021 by April of this year or June of this year. But you are at a disadvantage if you're using 2021 only. And you're also at a disadvantage if you're using both years, 2021 and 2022, because that's a huge number of books to go through. You're looking for your notes in one set, you're looking for your answers in another set. So you're going to be decreasing your time you have to complete your exam if you're bringing in both years, but you're not going to be told that you cannot.
Hey, let's just see. There's a comment from Ken Nimmer, who's just so grateful for this. She just says, I wasn't sure where to post this question, so I'm just making this as a comment. This was such great information and very much appreciative. I've been a chapter officer on multiple terms and have made notes for future reference with all your great ideas. Thank you for this social hour opportunity.
Glad we could
Thank
help.
you.
Yeah.
So from my closing comment to everybody, just thank you for all that you do. And just remember that you do not have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Mhm.
Very nice.
Well said. Brenda, thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you for having us.
Oh man, and I love to see these familiar faces. It makes social hour more fun, and we know each other so well, and can have these great discussions with our members. I just have to say thank you to all of our officers. I know you guys expressed that throughout this discussion, but they do so much for AAPC members and their local professionals who work in the business of healthcare. So thanks for that. And one final note, this broadcast will live on the AAPC Facebook page. We'll also post it up onto our YouTube channel. And we will post the audio onto our podcast. So if you are a podcaster, I love to podcast. Do you guys podcast?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yep. So just in your favorite podcast app, search for the AAPC podcast, and I'll get this up in the next few days. And you can listen to Debbie and Julia and Brenda and Robin and Kristen talk about being an officer and exams and all of this great information as you garden, as you are doing chores around the house, whatever you may be doing. Maybe you're going on a long road trip. Good way to get caught up in what's going on in the AAPC world. Thanks again, ladies, and thanks again to everybody watching. You guys have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You as well.
Thanks, you
Thank
too.
you.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.
Memorial
Bye,
Day
everyone.
weekend.